Hi, welcome back to a Very Mary Sue review. The last time we left off was with chapter 20 and a slightly tipsy Mary Sue problems. But Zoe had just spoken to Nefret about the previous evening and what happened, and Nefret encouraged her to reach out to her family, especially her grandmother again, just to talk to her, stop feeling so homesick. I guess I don't really remember. I'm really tired because that's what happens when you have 7:30 a.m. events. Oh, cat, honestly. 2 mornings in a row, work all day, have a nighttime event for a couple hours last night. I woke up early again this morning, worked all day, and then made chocolate truffles. So I'm kind of partially, you can't for the most part see it, but I am partially covered in chocolate still from making the chocolate truffles. I'm cheating at a cookie exchange. Sorry, not sorry. And now I'm doing March chapter 21. So Zoe calls her grandma. Her grandma's asked if her mom's called, and she's like she hasn't. And then her grandma's like, well, I tried to call you, but all I got was your voicemail. And then Zoe's like, oh, yeah, I guess my phone's dead. I haven't plugged it in or checked it or thought about any of you since I got here. Whatever, whoops. Change the subject. And they're talking, and Zoe's grandma says something's wrong. She's like, you tell me about anything. And Zoe's like, I drank blood and I liked it. And grandma, okay. Without any hesitation, Grandma said, well, honey, isn't that what vampires do? Go, Grandma. Like, honestly, someone needed to say it. And I just, really? You just have to be in the middle of this? You just have to? Oh, my God, that's adorable. I just headbutted my shoulder. Yeah, but I'm a vampire. I'm just a few days old fledgling. You're special, Zoe. You always have been. Why should that change now? So special. Very special. Much vampire. Cat, stop sticking your butt up. I'm recording. Goodness, have some shame? Decency? I don't know. I won't body shame you or king shame you, kitty cat. But I prefer your butt not being in this video. And so he's like, I don't feel special. I feel like a freak. And her grandmother's like, you're still yourself, even though if you look like a familiar stranger, which is the exact wording that Zoe's been using for like ever. And Zoe's like, how did you know? And her grandma's like, you're my girl, honey. You're daughter of my spirit. It's not hard to understand what you must be feeling. It's very much like what I imagine I'd be feeling. And then it just gets a bit odd. And then she talks about, she tells her grandmother about how she feels the 5 elements. Seriously, my arm is holding you up. My arm is tired. Do you know how long I stirred chocolate in a pot with whipping cream? He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Yes. I also had to grind up candy canes. Yeah, it took some effort. I don't have a meat mallet thing. I didn't really have any tools that worked for it. I took a paperweight. I washed it. And then I used a bowl, and I just ground up candy canes. And my arms better be ripped after this. That's all I have to say. Okay. And Grandma, I don't know her name. Grandma Zoe, I guess, is all, just trust in the goddess, and everything's great, and you're gonna be fine, and that's all gonna be great. Just do your best. And Zoe's like, okay, Grandma. And Grandma's like, follow what your spirit tells you. And she's like, okay, Grandma. And she's going to go do a purification prayer later. So that's going to be interesting, I think. And then she says, talking to Grandma had lifted a terrible weight from my heart. I was still scared and freaked out about the future, and I wasn't wild about the thought of bringing down Aphrodite, not to mention that I really didn't have a clue how to go about it, but I did have a plan. I don't think you know what a plan is, Zoe. You just said that you don't have a clue of how to go about it, so... Anyways, why are you purring, Nigel? Do not enjoy this book. God. And Zoe runs into I think it's that guy, Eric. I'm not sure. Yes, it is Eric. I got confused because it just launched into this quote by Eric. Don't you think baby corns are scary? There's just something wrong about their midget bodies. And there's just so many things wrong about that quote that I just don't want to go into it. Zoe jumps and she almost drops a ladle of ranch dressing into more ranch dressing, which would have been terrible. Ranch dressing getting in the ranch dressing. I don't know what they would have done. And Eric calls her Z, and he's like, I'm making a habit of sneaking up on you. How cute is that? So cute. He's not a creepy stalker or anything. He really isn't a creepy stalker. But it's an odd comment. And Eric's like, I heard you joined the Dark Daughters. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. The group needs some new blood, which is a little, like, is that a vampire pun? Like, I don't know. And of course it's in front of Zoe's friends. And Zoe's like, you say that group like you don't belong to it. Aren't you a dark son? Yeah, but it's not the same as being a dark daughter. We're just ornamental, kind of opposite of how it is in the human world. All the guys know that we're just there to look good and keep Aphrodite amused. Good for you for acknowledging that's like a thing that happens in the real world. I really wish that you would kind of talk about how it's not okay either way, but what else? And Zoe continues, I looked up at him, reading something else in his eyes. And is that what you're still doing? Amusing Aphrodite? As I said last night, not anymore, which is one reason I don't really consider myself a member of the group. I'm sure they'd officially kick me out if it wasn't for that little acting thing I do. You mean little, as in Broadway and LA already being interested in you? It's just so little, just like no big deal. Like, just a few like blockbuster movies. I'm in the Avengers, whatever. He's not in the Avengers. And he's like, really, I'm a dork. I'm a secret dork. And Zoe's like, no, you're so full of it. And he's like, no, I can totally prove it. And he's like, come watch movies with me. And we'll watch all my favorite DVDs. It'll totally prove it. I'm paraphrasing here. This is not what he actually says. And how it proves everything is it's Star Wars, the original ones. I know all the lines for all the parts. I can even do Chewbacca's parts. She's like, you're right, you're a dork. And lady, you can't call anybody else a dork. You have a Star Trek hoodie, first of all. And that's not that dorky. Good Lord. That's pretty mainstream. But, I mean, dorky is pretty mainstream. It's just, what did I ask? I'm just bad with words. I'm very tired. And she's just like, I can't go tonight. I have plans. And he's like, oh, bummer, next time. And he's actually really hurt. And all of her friends, like Aaron and Shawnee and Damien, are like, why would you do that? Why would you do the thing? And she's like, chill out. And Stevie Ray's all like, what could be more important than a date? And she's like, getting rid of Aphrodite. And that's when the chapter ends, and it's so melodramatic. I love it. And Nigel is still purring, and he's trying to snuggle, so Nigel loves it too. I'm a crazy cat lady. There is no hope for me.